me clearly? No? Yes. All right. To get started, I'd just like to ask a little quick question here. And the question is, why are you here? And so I'd like a sort of a show of hands. Are you here to learn about blockchain? Have you come for an educational reason? Anybody? Okay, that's pretty big. Have you come here to find an opportunity to invest in? Another good balance. Have you come here with an opportunity to show and showcase and maybe find some of those other hands that just went up? Okay, great. That's actually a pretty good balance. Okay, today there's a topic in the agenda that it says I'm speaking on, but I'm not actually speaking on that topic, and I tried for weeks to get it removed from there. Anyways, I'm talking about funding your project in today's challenging environment. Has anybody had trouble attempting to fund their project currently, and especially with what's been sort of happening in this sort of enterprise blockchain field? Who would like help to know how to actually make that happen? Only 3 people want help? I gotta go. No. Okay, so I'm really gonna wanna talk about that today. And so, let's see if this works. Where's the, oh, okay. So we just talked about asking why you're here. Well, the first thing you need to do in order to understand where it is you want to go is you actually have to have clarity. And ultimately, to fund a project, you have to know why you want to fund that project. You have to know who you want to fund that project with. So I think many of you sitting out there today would go, just if somebody showed up with money, I'd take it, and I'd get this thing off the ground. Well, then you might find yourself with a boat anchor. You might find yourself with somebody who's absolutely contrary to what it is you want to do as an operator. It is important to interview the money as the money that wants to interview you. And I'm going to tell you, that this is going to become clear as to why you want to do that. So, is funding rocket science? Who thinks funding is challenging, difficult, and technical? Okay, thank you for your honest answer, because we could all sort of, delude ourselves. So the reason I put this particular slide up is because we have Voyager 2 on the bottom, not Voyager 1, and there's a little bit of a difference. Voyager 2 is the first vehicle from Earth to leave our actual solar system and gone into deep space. And the minute it crested something that you cannot see, it actually started giving different readings. Now that little key fob that's in most of your pockets has more computing power than Voyager 2. So if this is all about rocket science, and the most incredible thing we've ever done happens to reside in greater amounts in your key fob, how difficult can these things actually be? If we can launch something out of the solar system, and we can do it with less computing power than this, and it's still talking to us, how difficult can it be to reach out of your space, to get presence, to find a way with obviously a smaller tool than one of the greatest tools? And quite frankly, it's not the things you think about. It's not spreadsheets. It's not financials. It's not business plans, white papers, projections. All of that's nice, and any one of you can buy the expertise in order to create those pieces of paper. Sorry. My little prompter, it's doing its thing. So, okay. I also want to talk about old world, new world, and which you may have in your head versus the reality of where we are today. Borrowing money 30 years ago, 20 years ago, 15 years ago, 100 years ago, there is nothing different about finding funding, borrowing money, finding an investor than there was back then. It's the same formula with different wrapping. Okay? So why was somebody lending money to J.P. Morgan? Why would somebody lend money or invest in your project today? These are the most important things that you will ever do in order to attract somebody to your project. Leadership, innovation, having a clear strategy, transparency, and we'll talk a little bit about that. Having a great team, developing efficiencies, solving real problems, and loving to do it. Because if you want to be an entrepreneur and you want to build something like this, excuse my language, but it's going to kick your ass every step of the way. You are going to find challenges. People are going to get in your way. They're going to drop the ball. So how is it you overcome those things? Well, you have to start being a person that other people would like to invest in. So there's this great formula we all believe in life. If you do it, you will have it. How many people have been doing it so they can have it? Who's been working hard? Doing it, hoping to have it. Well, before you can do that, and there's the little tip on the bottom, the way this formula actually works is called be, do, have. You have to be the person. You have to be the one. You have to do the things. You have to bring those skills, and you have to have this in you in order to do the things and have the things you think it is you want. Now, I'm going to tell you, a lot of the things you think you want may morph over time as you sort of do the wild and woolly crazy things in order to build a business. But why would somebody invest in your project? I would rather invest in a project that I thought was mediocre with an incredible talent, an incredible ability, an incredible passion, an incredible drive to make that get to the goal line. I can tell you somebody like that will take a dog and get it to the end of the line. If you don't have those things, and if you don't show those things, you don't have the passion for those things, you can have a racehorse and you're not going to get it across the line because nobody's going to believe you are who you think you are because you are not the bee and you are looking for money in order to achieve something that's material. And so this is a leap you have to make in your life and in your mind. You have to change how you think. I want every one of you to actually realize your goal. I want you to get the money. I want you to bring these new things to market. I want to change the world so bad I can't tell you because there's so many things in it I'm really not liking. And I think anybody who's got a passion out there to take what it is you do, turn it into your project. I have a huge charity in Ecuador. We feed babies, we feed kids, we help old people who've been kicked out of their houses. Money has far more value in something like that than it does in your project. But it needs a project that's successful to allow you and me and other people to actually make those things happen. So I want to see you make it, and I want to see you put it together. Dreams and dreamers combined with passion and persistence. Be your own hero. Be the person you would invest in. How many people here have lent money? How many times did that happen successfully? Every hand went down, I believe. I don't see one that was left remaining. Why did that happen? What decision did you make? Which choice did you make? What was it that got you to lend the money when your interior heart was telling you this was the wrong thing to do? But you did it anyways. You liked somebody. It was a friend. It was a family member. Well, here's the enormous value of having lent money and not getting it paid, or not having it getting paid back. The value in that is you've learned who you need to be and who you have to be. And sorry, guys, I can't finish right here. So I hope you'll bear with me a couple minutes, and I'll be as quick as possible. Okay. Which part didn't you hear? I was just asking them. Okay. Well, that's it. You don't get the money back. That's a powerful lesson for you. And if you take the value of that lesson and why you didn't get it, when you're looking for money, you don't want to be that person who didn't pay. What are the qualities of the person who didn't pay? They didn't live up to their obligations. They didn't take it seriously. They may even been family or friends, and they still didn't pay you the money. So if you're going to be a borrower, how determined and how focused and how credible will you be in order to get the process of the money or the funds that what it is you do? So I put up here, apply the so what test. This is the most powerful sentence I have in my entire vocabulary. Would you like to do this? You want to get involved in our project? I can bring this to the table. I want to advertise, and this is my message. And every time I come up with an advertising message at the end of it, and all my marketing team, they'll go, I got it, it's brilliant. And they'll say it to me, and I'll go, so what? And they'll go, well, okay, we're going to have the greatest blockchain release of all time. And I go, so what? Well, because it will make money, and we can build a great business. And I go, so what? So you have money, it's a great business. What's next? Well, we're going to take that, and we're going to change things. We're going to build something around that. We're going to create an environment. We're going to create a team. We're going to have fun. We're going to fund, something that's worthwhile. We are going to make a difference in this space. And if you can get to the end of the so what question, and you can answer that, it's a good idea. But if you have a marketing line or a pitch to somebody who wants to maybe join your project or lend money to you, the so what is the most critical. And if you're not answering that, just like you would the next time some relative wants to borrow the money, you want to know why, how, when, and how it's going to get there. And are you credible enough to give it back? So, I'd like you to indulge me here. And I know a lot of people don't like to play along in sort of certain things, but hopefully you will. I'd like you all to close your eyes right now. I'm looking, please keep them closed. I want to tell you a quick story. About 10 years ago, it was a sunny day, it was a beautiful day. I lived on an acreage outside a place in Canada, and I was going to work, I was going to Vancouver, and I was going a day early. I was going a day early because I didn't want to rush, and I wanted to be calm. I wanted to have a nice day on Monday, because normally Vancouver was a 45-minute flight. I'd leave Monday morning, I'd be hectic and busy, and I'd get there. So I come in to check in for the flight, and what happens? The lady says, gee, your flight's had a mechanical, it's canceled. I went, okay, I don't mind. I'll come back tomorrow because I was going early anyways. She goes, wow, you were the nicest man today. Everybody was upset. I have one seat on the next flight that's going. If you'll carry your bag on, I'll get you there. So zoom, I rip down, I get down the gangway, I walk into the plane, and there was only one seat on this plane. And it was on the emergency exit aisle, which, thank God, if I ever fly in a plane that doesn't have business class, that's where I'll sit. But here's the thing, all big guys know that's where you sit, okay? So I'm walking down the aisle, and these two guys who are sitting in there look, and they see me coming. And as I got closer to them, I went, yes, it's me. And they're like, damn it. Now we have three big guys stacked in the emergency exit aisle. So quickly, the plane is absolutely full. It's full of baggage. It goes down the runway. It's a 737. If you've ever been in a fully loaded plane full of luggage, it feels like a big lumbering duck. It gets up in the air. We get to about 10,000 feet, and the cabin starts to fill with smoke. Now keep your eyes shut here, because there's smoke all through the cabin, and the smoke alarms go off in both of the bathrooms. Nee, 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 nee. and people are starting to figure out what's happening. And these two guys beside me who don't fly a lot, they go, "What's happening? What's that smell?" I went, "It's the wrong smell." They went, "What do you mean?" I said, "It's not fuel, it's not jet wash. I have flown millions of miles. We have smoke, there's some fire, there's something burning." And so, they started listening to me intently, and I said, "Uh-oh." I could hear him shutting down the left engine. A 737 can stay in the air if it's high enough with one engine. But what happens is when you drop that engine speed, the wing on the left side drops and the thrust goes up on the right. And now you have no altitude. How do planes turn? When they have thrust going up or they have speed coming down. You need power to turn. And so we're supposed to be going left over the Rocky Mountains, but now we're turning right. And I'm talking out loud, I'm going, "Oh, geez, we're coming around. There's really something wrong." And I went, "But good news, we're coming around to the east-west diagonal. This is my home airport. I know every strip on it. I've been out of there 1,000 times. And so we have to turn flat a little bit at a time. We can't dive to turn hard. We can't go up to turn hard because we don't have the thrust." And so as we start to turn, the smoke is building. So what happens next? A man in seat 1 falls into the aisle of a heart attack. People are hugging each other. They are praying. They are writing notes to their loved ones. And they're hugging. And I'm talking out loud now because people have started to listen to me. And I'm going, "It's okay. We're not far. We're not far. We'll hit the east-west diagonal." And then we turned. I went, "Okay, we're on the flight path. We can land. We can land. We have enough altitude." And just at that time, for the first time during this whole thing, you can see the flight attendants. They're quaking up at the front of the plane. The captain comes on and he goes, "Hello, this is Bob Watson. It's your captain speaking. We have an emergency, as you can see. We have a problem. We're going to be met on the forward runway by emergency fire crews. Also, please, nobody move. An ambulance is going to meet us. We got to get this man out of the front row. We'll be down in a couple of minutes." Zoom, bang, we hit the runway. Fire truck comes out. They hit the left engine. Ambulance shows up. They whip this guy off in a gurney. The little tow truck comes and gets us, takes us to an international booth, not the domestic one where everybody's together. They put us all in there, and people are vibrating. They are shaking. They are hugging for their lives. And the first thing they do is they sit everybody down. People run for the phone booths. There's 3 of them. And I have my Call Anywhere in Canada program, and I just flip my phone and I say, "Anywhere in Canada," just pass it around. And the 2 big guys are with me. They threw that to the crowd because there wasn't enough phones for people to call their families because everybody was going to die. Everybody thought it was over in the end. So they started handing out juice boxes that kids have, and people were putting in the straws going, gone. And another one. You pour out so much moisture out of your body that you have to hydrate. So finally, I'll speed this up as best I can. We're all sequestered in there. They're going to bring a new plane. And the pilot was whipped away. They put in I don't want to call it interrogation, but debriefing. And he did come back. And he was like at a podium like this. And he goes, "Now this was Mr. Calm, cool, absolutely collected pilot of the world when he was landing us on fire." And he comes up and he goes, This is John, your captain. I've just finished the debrief on with the authorities, and so I'm not going to be flying again today, and they're bringing another plane. So I decide, okay, we'll take this other flight. Anyways, it got canceled. We all had to go home. Now here's my point. If you ever face something like that in your life, or if you can get yourself and you actually had your eyes shut and listened to what I was saying, you should have been feeling some of that fear. You should have been thinking about who you were going to write. What note would you leave? What would you think about your family, and how could you help your family when that was over? If you can get in touch with those things, Oh, well, it hopped one too many. Let's see if I can back it up. If you can get there, and if you can define your reality, and you can define who you are, and if you know the privilege of life, and you have the sense of that, and you can pass that off to somebody else, and you can go to an interview and talk to somebody about the money you need to launch your project, and you can actually believe and have a passion for what you do, because it's not all you are, it's what you want to be. Something incredible will happen. Now, funny enough, when I speak to something incredible will happen, I did a little 5-minute thing yesterday in the competition, and I met lots of people. So does anybody know the Bitcoin man, Herbert Sim? Well, I was being this guy yesterday, and Herbert's now our partner in our project. So I'd like to tell you about Karuschain. I'd like to interest you in our project, but I can tell you everything I did is everything about our project, and what I just told you is what we will do. So we have a multi-billion-dollar project. We will own, to make this short, all the data that comes out of the precious mining industry in our blockchain. And 2 days before I came here, I signed a deal with 250 miners to take their information onto the blockchain. So you're going to ask me how I did that? I took the largest enterprise mining software company in the world and signed up them, and they have 250 miners. So that's my presentation. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for letting me up here.
Thank you very much, Richard.